Hey YouTube, so I'm just making what should be a relatively brief recording here to demonstrate a machine I made through some experimentation. So it's a retractable bridge, and I'll show how it works in a moment, but I'm going to demonstrate its usage first. And then the other button retracts it back in. And then if I want, I can go and do the same thing on the other side here. This button reverses it. And if I want to go back over, just hit this. And the whole thing is simple enough. So, how does this actually work? So obviously, as you can see, I've kind of got about the same machine here 4 times. I'll just take a look at the first one. This is the original. This first one here just puts a redstone block right here. And the reason I have it done that way is so that you can't just keep triggering the machine to do something that it shouldn't be able to do. For example, there's no bridge currently in place, and this machine would remove the bridge if there was one. But as there isn't one, if I tried to run this one, it would give me issues. So that's what this redstone block does. If I try to hit the button, nothing happens because all this does is put the redstone block there, which is what triggers the rest of it. So if the block is already there, it can't be placed. And this block is not removed until I create a bridge, as you can see here. So, and now I can run this machine if I so desire. So, yeah, so there are multiple ways I could have done this. For example, I could have just had multiple blocks that fill blocks section by section, but then I would have to have a command block for every single step of the animation, and while that would have been simpler, it's simply less efficient. So the way this one works is here. Let me switch these off briefly to give a demonstration. So what it does is it summons an armor stand. I was originally using, I think, a villager, but armor stand is better because it's not going to suddenly walk off and break the entire machine. An armor stand just kind of exists, and it can be turned invisible, unlike minecarts or whatever. So what it does is this command block makes the armor stand. This one gives it a tag, in this case bridge 1. I ended up having to do an individual tag for each separate machine. And then once the tag is added, it's just tracked via tag. And so this last one makes it invisible, which for far longer than it needs to be. But because it only exists for what, less than 10 seconds. But yeah. So then what this one does is, let me go whole command here. So what it does is it causes the armor stand to check and see if the block here. What this one does, the repeating command block, it creates an armor stand right in this block here, right? And then that armor stand is going to check and see if this block right here is air. And if it is, it's going to put quartz blocks down and teleport 1 step forwards. And then once again, it's going to check and see if there is air here, and if there is, it's going to move 1 step forwards, and so on and so forth until it gets to the other side, at which point it hits these emerald blocks and realizes this isn't air, and at that point the armor stand is killed, so to speak, and the machine takes away the redstone block on the other side. So here, let me delay the ticks to a full 2 seconds so I can demonstrate exactly how this works. So it's going to check and see if there's air, and if there is, it's going to move it 1 block forwards. As you can see. Yep. Let's take that away. I'm gonna set this back to 5 ticks, which is half a second. And what's nice about doing it this way is I can modify how fast I want the animation to go just by how many ticks I delay it for. And then this next command block is the one that teleports it forwards. This command block just checks to see what block is there and replaces it. Checks to see if there's air and puts quartz there. And then if that one executes correctly, it teleports this one forwards. And then this one is detecting for the emerald block. And if it once detects the emerald block on the other side of the bridge, it kills the entity. And then this last one puts air here so that the reverse machine can run. And the other machine works basically on the same principle, except now I'm working with an entity called Bridge 4. And the reason for that is because originally this machine, which you'll see here is Bridge 2. Originally that one was here, but then I realized the animation going forwards was just coming up into the other side, and it doesn't look like it's actually going out and then retracting again. So I ended up swapping these machines, but yeah, you'll see the tag here. I keep pressing the summon armor stand one. The tag here is Bridge 4. Makes it invisible. And then it does the same process, but in reverse. If it detects a quartz block, it fills it with air. And this one actually starts over here on the other side and comes back over. And once it detects a gold block, it dies. So yeah, and then these basically do the same thing but in reverse. So if I were to hold on, let me enable these again. Here, let me make it day real quick. Yeah, the reason I did it with an armor stand this way is because instead of going for a specific amount of blocks, it just keeps going until it hits a block that's not air. So I could move this other side of the bridge as far away as I wanted. I could have it like right here or even farther if I wanted. And all I would have to do is change the coordinates where the armor stand is created. But otherwise it would just, I could have this bridge as long as I wanted and it would just go back, go forwards and come back. So yeah, I'm honestly really proud of this. It was fun to make. I'll share a brief story I had while I was in development. So originally it tracked the armor stand just using one tag, bridge. There was no number afterwards like I have them tagged as now. And that was just to keep things simple, I guess. I didn't think it needed to be more complicated. But then I realized if it didn't execute correctly, I'd have 2 redstone. See, when I started up, you see there, while the machine's running, there are 2 redstone blocks, and that means that both were originally actively tracking one called bridge, and it basically wasn't functioning right since it's getting commands that tell it to both create and erase blocks in air, and basically it was just getting confused since it's getting 2 signals. So instead of trying to figure out a different way to power the machine, I just gave each action, I guess I would call it, I gave each one an individual tag, bridge 1, bridge 2, bridge 3, and bridge 4, so that it was never having conflict. The only issue the machine currently still has is if someone were to start the machine from one side and then start the machine from the other side. So let's say yeah, basically if someone were to hit one on one side while the other person's running one on the other side, like so, it's just broken now. So you can't, if I were to go back here, see, it's just glitching out. That was similar to the issue I originally had, where it just could not, it would just have alternating blocks like that. So that's the only issue left in the machine, and I'm not sure how to fix that, short of adding a command that places a redstone block on every single other machine at a given time. But that's like an additional 3 blocks, and part of the reason I built the machine this way was to keep it as efficient as possible. And I don't know, with at least in a little single player world like this, where I just make some random stuff, it's not really an issue. But that would be the fix for it. If you were to build this yourself, it would just be to make sure that only one action is usable at a time. Let's see, is this working properly now? Yes, it is. Huh. It looks like it's maybe even not that immense of a deal. Does it just... It looks like after one incorrect usage, it kind of fixes itself. Interesting. It's really interesting. Oh well. That is not something I really feel the need to debug. I'm kind of happy with it as it is. So, yeah, this is really fun to make, and I hope my explanation of how it works was concise. If someone like really wants a world download, I can. It'd be harder to do since this world is just kind of one I do random stuff on. I can't export this specific machine, or at least I wouldn't be sure how to, sort of like using an MBT editor or whatever, and I'm not very familiar with how those work. So, but yeah, I hope this was interesting, and yeah, thank you for watching.